I decided to build a Jack Sparrow dinghy in my garage. As a kid, I watched Jack Sparrow sail off into the sunset with his dinghy. Now, 18 years later, I've decided to do the same thing. Since I have no experience with boat building, I'm starting off with a kit. Looks like a bunch of puzzle pieces. How hard could it be? I started by gluing these pieces with marine-grade epoxy. It's always important to have the right tool for the job. Doing it in a small space and by yourself does make it a little awkward. Getting my eyeballs real close to pointy things is probably a good idea to wear safety glasses. With the wiring done, it's time to flip the boat over. Somehow. Maybe. I eventually swallowed my pride and asked for help. Probably for the best. Maybe later. The problem about doing this in my garage is it gets quite hot during the day. Plenty of water and beer, I'm fine working in it. The epoxy on the other hand, it's not so much. For long epoxy runs, I had to wake up bright and early before the sun comes out to get it done. Before the epoxy dries, gotta make sure there's no twist in it. One of my buddies gave me this jar of dirt. This should come in handy. For gluing up the gunnels, because they're so long, I had to get a bit creative. All these clamps, I almost tipped the boat over. Good thing I had my jar of dirt. The kit design is a Northeastern Dory. I really like its design. The sheer line is very aesthetic. All this sanding, maybe I can come up with a way to auto sand. Maybe not. This part is easier if you get a buddy to hold it for you. The kit came with some nice pieces of wood for the thwarts. Since this is a pirate dinghy, I decided to save the nice wood for another project. Find me some cheaper wood, aka free, off the side of the road. Because I want these seats to have a rough aesthetic, we're gonna raw dog them. No sanding, no jointing, just glue them together and cut them out. Which is pretty easy with the templates in the kit, if you trace them out right. I ended up having to redo this piece. And would you believe I was able to cut all these out without even nicking my fancy sawhorse buckets? I wouldn't. I also built some foam blocks to go under the seats to help me with the buoyancy when I inevitably capsize it. I did get a little distracted sweeping up. Thinking about how I wanted to finish the boat, I decided to stain and whitewash the inside. Unfortunately, I thought of this after I epoxied the floor already. We're just gonna have to figure something else out for that. I also thought the transom looked a bit empty, so I got some Bob Ross action going.
We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
Need to add just a few more things to make it a sailboat, like the mast step, and the daggerboard box. I did a lot of experimenting, trying to figure out how to finish the boat. Felt a bit like a mad scientist, really, mixing all these colorful liquids together. The original idea was to match the floor as close as I can to the walls, but my black wash started to look like wood grain, so I just went with it. It ended up looking pretty cool, I think. To seal it all up, I applied spar varnish, which requires some thinning. I needed to clean that anyway. After several coats of varnish, I applied matte as the final coat to remove all that shininess. Sanding the hull of a boat like this for hours made me think of my boy Andy Dufresne in Zihuatanejo, although this would be miserable doing it outside in the sun. Mr. Miyagi might have been onto something. My forearms were pretty sore the next morning. Pulling off painter's tape is pretty satisfying until you trip over your tripod. I then stared at it for a bit, decided I didn't like it, and redid the tape. The kit came with some stencils, made shaping the masts a bit easier. I was about to cut the other side when I realized the mast looks like a banana. That's not good. I tried all kinds of ways to fix it, but any common sense probably should have figured none of these methods would have worked. So, I went out and probably got the straightest 2x4s in the county. We back in business. The boat has a kick-up rudder that I should be able to control by pulling up and down. Maybe. I came back the next morning, only realized I installed the rudder backwards. I also added some longer screws. Makes much more sense now. Finishing up the details on the mast, I came to the realization it would make a great pole vault stick if I ever needed to get into my neighbor's yard. To establish the rake, or how much lean the mast should have, I used my custom plumb bob and attached it to the top of the mast. I then measured out to get the exact angle I need. The brass hardware was a little too shiny for me, so I threw it in a salt and vinegar solution to age it up. I changed up the finish on the oars that I bought to match too. These Egyptian cream sails that I got were pretty much the right color. I just wanted to give them a bit more character. To rig the sails up would have been easier with crew, depending on the crew. As I hoisted the sail up, I realized it's too big for my mast. Someone measured wrong. To fix it, I moved the gooseneck down to give the right clearance for the sail. I almost forgot. I gotta attach a flagpole to the mast. Wouldn't be much of a Jack Sparrow boat without his flag. Yep, I think she'll float. Loading up the boat, I got my supplies, a jar of dirt, and I wouldn't be much of a pirate without some treasure. Now, it's time to live out my childhood dream. Bring me that horizon.